everybody. It's tomorrow, which is September 13th. It's a Wednesday. Joe with you here again for the second day in a row. And I've got not much to report from yesterday. Very little change, even though we did get a CPI that was a little confusing. I've got my 2 cents. I'll give you my opinion. Take it for what you will. Take responsibility for the outcome. I'm going to break down the news of the day, which was actually the CPI was pretty much the headline. I'm going to break down the charts technically and see if there's any sort of advantages we can take with it, along with the setups, as always, from around the community.
Disclaimer. This video was created for professional stock and option traders. Maverick Trading is a proprietary trading firm that employs professional traders around the world. Our traders trade firm capital and keep 70 to 80% of profits they generate. All trades and analysis in this video are for professional traders only. If you are interested in becoming a professional trader for Maverick, click the apply button in the video description. Let's break down what happened today.
Moving straight into the market analysis, we had a pretty interesting day as we started off with some pretty decent gains. The CPI number did come out. In fact, let's just jump straight into it. It came in a little bit hot. And as you can see, the expectations were for this to come in at 0.6%, which was lastly at 0.2. So the expectations were for an increase in the consumer price index itself, showing a little bit of heat when it comes to inflation. Now, the core CPI month over month was a little bit of a surprise. It upticked as well, but the year over year had a bump up. And what's kind of interesting about this, when you expect a little bit of an increase in the CPI and it actually comes in a little bit hotter than expected, the only thing that was actually in line was the CPI month over month. The year over year, the Fed comes out and realizes, hey, we're okay with that. They seemed pretty stoic, and they do have a meeting coming up on Wednesday of next week. So how did the markets play out with all of this news? Well, Dow, S&P, and the Qs pretty much flat on the day. Understand, we did have a little bit of a gain going into as the CPI numbers were coming out and being kind of dissected and looked at. And then it just kind of slowly slid all the way off to close pretty much flat. Russell, oil, and gold. Everything just went to a neutral stance. It's kind of funny because it's got this feeling of, oh, geez, well, what do we do now? Advanced decline line still had the majority of people to the bear side, 59%, 37% advancing. Above below the 50-day moving average, 71% below and 29% above. So let's just jump straight into the charts and break down what we can. Talked yesterday about this beautiful symmetrical triangle pattern that we have going on, and guess what? Today just added to it and moved it forward. These 2 days don't do much for me, at least when it comes to showing a breakout. I talked yesterday about this level here to the upside and this one here to the downside. That still remains. I'm thinking that this could be a slow, kind of a slow bleed, meaning that we could see Thursday and Friday pick up pace in one of the directions. It just depends on how these numbers actually get digested overnight. And basically, it's up to the Fed on Wednesday of next week if they're going to make any sorts of changes. Now, with no change, and you do get a little bit of those inflationary numbers that get you a little bit worried of, oh, geez, maybe it's a little hotter than was expected. It's just going to be opinion at that point. So it's going to be very interesting to see, and this is why we follow sentiment of the markets, which is basically price action, because that will tell us truly what people are thinking. But I can tell you for a fact, no one was thinking anything today except for, well, what do we do now? Q's exact same situation, a little bit reversed. They did pull out a little bit of a gain to end the day, but it didn't really go anywhere. So I'm not going to put too much into it. Still in this symmetrical triangle pattern. The push and pull is still there. You're going to see here in our picks because we do have some very good trades. A lot of the bears that we've been watching, folks, for the last little while have been working out nicely. A lot of the bulls that stay strong continue to stay strong. One that's on my list is Amazon, $2.56% to the upside today. Tesla moving higher, so a lot of outperformance where you'd expect it, and then a whole lot of nothing for the rest of us. So I'm not changing my outlook from yesterday. I'm going to stay at this 0 because we just got another inside day, meaning that candle just kind of stuck with what we got yesterday. Still have that nice symmetrical triangle pattern, and I am eager to see which way we break. Outside of that, there are some great trades. A couple of these carried over from yesterday. I didn't really add much. There were a couple I took off because on the bull side that did roll over. I am personally seeing a little bit more bearishness or bearish follow through in some of the charts I've been watching over the last week or two, more so than any real strong follow through to the bull side. That being said, let's take a look at one that is doing pretty well to the bull side. Amazon on our watch list yesterday, waiting for a breakout, and we absolutely got confirmation of this today. You can see the candle breaking out of this high base. This was the area I was waiting for, was this high point after this gap up. So we could see that it has exceeded that. So I'll be looking to put a trade on this maybe tomorrow if it can actually hang out there and continue to stay above that 144 mark would be ideal. But it's in a nice uptrend. It looks pretty good. Something sideways to up. So let's get over to our bear. Skipped right over the sideways. I'm not seeing a lot of sideways that stays sideways enough for me to take advantage of it. It usually just kind of fizzles itself out. Now, out of all the bears, Kohl's I had for a pick yesterday, it confirmed beautiful. For Solar's one we had yesterday, they're still on the list. It confirmed. But they're a little extended. However, PARA here, I like this as it's kind of rolling over nice and slow. It does have a support level here at about 13, and it's taking its time to do so, roll over. But this would be a fun one to actually catch as it's rolling over. So maybe a little bit larger of a diagonal spread. Shoot for something like a 12, maybe a 13.5 if it's available, or even a 14. Give it a little bit of room just in case that this 13 doesn't hold and it slips further down. But you might want to play this a little bit longer than maybe a week and a half, maybe 2 weeks, probably around there, than trying to do this in the next few days. So not much changed from yesterday, but the trades that we're looking at are continuing to take the direction that we're expecting them to. So that's been kind of nice. We do get hiccups. We get bounces. Sometimes that can happen. We saw a big move in utilities, a pretty big bounce in energy that had been beaten down for quite a bit. So that does happen. So just be aware of that. That's why we position size the way we do, right? Symmetrical triangle consolidation remains. Once these numbers sink in, today, tomorrow, we could see a move over the next couple of days going into Fridays. A lot of times Fridays can be super volatile, and it usually is after some sort of Fed event on a Wednesday. It takes a day or so for traders to make a decision, and boom, we're up a whole bunch on Friday for some reason, or down. So I do expect that can happen, especially how tight we've been over the last few days. So the ball is now in the Fed's court for next week's meeting. The expectations are for them just to stay flat, no change, and then maybe look to next meeting to raise if necessary. Retail sales, PPI, jobless claims, home sales, services PMI, they're still due out this week. If these numbers show inflationary problems or they come out way off, we might see a little bit of reaction in the markets as well. So check your potential trades for earnings as always. I did see Adobe and Lennar out tomorrow. Just of interest if you guys just want to kind of follow along with it. All right, guys, that's it. That's it for a Wednesday. And thanks for joining me. We'll talk to you next time. Bye, folks.